So x is less than 12 and x is greater than negative 12. So how do I mark this? What do I do with this one?
One to go in.
You have to make the circle first.
Okay, the circle because it's not equal to on this side. And which way is this one going? X is less than 12. It's going to the left, right? X is greater than negative 12. So what am I going to do over here?
Positive.
Circle. And greater than, everything greater than negative 12 is this way. Okay? So this inequality, remember yesterday we were talking about ands and ors. We've been talking about ands and ors, right? Is this an and or an or?
Yeah.
Okay. So in your notes, you're gonna want to write this down. Less than and. When we set up this inequality is less than, so it's going to be an and. Okay?
Compared to the absolute value. So if the less than is pointing to the absolute value, then it's less than.
Okay. So if the less than is pointing to the absolute value, it's going to be and. Okay? So how can we, what's another way that we can write this? So remember we have x in the middle. So we have x is greater than, so we're reading from the variable, negative 12, and x is less than 12. Okay? Let's try this one. What are we going to look at very first when we're dealing with absolute values? Is the absolute value isolated? Is it alone?
No.
The absolute value? Is anything timesing or adding or subtracting out here? No. So it's already isolated. Okay, we're going to do some in a minute where it's not isolated. Okay, so it's already alone. So what are we going to do first?
Write the two equations.
Yep, we're going to write the two equations, the two inequalities first. So 7x is greater than or equal to 21. What's the other one going to say?
Then opposite.
7x is
Less than equal to negative.
negative 21.
Good. Okay, and what are we going to do next?
Divide.
Good. Okay, so what do we have here, Danny?
I think it's 3. No.
Yep.
So 4.
3.
Yep, it's 3.
So it's 3.
Okay, so x is greater than or equal to 3. And over here,
Less than or greater to.
less than or equal to
Negative 3.
negative 3. Good. Okay, this one in the inequality here, I should have maybe pointed this out first. We have the absolute value of 7x is greater than or equal to. So when when the absolute value is greater than the number over here, we're going to have an or graph. Okay, so we can write right here or. Okay, what does an or graph look like?
Opposite directions.
Okay, an or graph, remember, is going in opposite directions, right? One to the right and one to the left. So if we have 0, we have 3 over here. What do we have over here? Negative 3. Okay, so let's do this one first. X is greater than or equal to 3. What am I going to do on the 3? Fill in the circle. Okay, and which way is it going?
To the right.
To the right, because it's greater than or equal to 3. Okay, and on this side, x is less than or equal to negative 3. Kelly, what am I going to do over here?
Is less than?
What's my circle going to be? Open or closed?
Oh, closed.
Closed circle because it's equal to. And which way is my graph going to go?
Left.
Yes, left. Because it's equal than, greater, less than or equal to. Okay? Is it making sense?
So notice on that one, that you do the same thing. Did you change the sign of the inequality and the sign of the number on the second equation? Yes, same exact thing. But this one's an or because it was from the absolute value, greater or. Less than what?
And.
And. Everybody got it?
Okay. So write that in your notes, and you can remember they're kind of rhyme. They kind of sound alike. Okay. So that's helping you. From the absolute value, what's the absolute value is isolated. Okay, we have less than and, so you're gonna have an and equation. Greater, okay, greater, remember or, greater than is or, okay? Sorry, I want to do one other one before we do that one. Okay. So what do we have to do first? This one is x plus, the absolute value of x plus 4 minus 6 is less than 9. Addie?
Plus, or add the 9, or 6.
Okay, so we have to get the absolute value alone. Okay, that's the first thing that we have to focus on. So she's right, we're going to add the 6 on both sides. Okay? What's 9 plus 6?
15.
Okay. Okay, so we have x plus 4 is less than 15.
Now notice she didn't set up her two equations until this moment.
Right, you have to isolate the absolute value before you set up your two equations. Okay, is my absolute value alone now?
Yes.
Yes, on one side of the inequality. So what's my next step going to be?
Minus the 4.
X plus
What
4.
do I have to do first?
Write the equations.
Write the equations. So what's the first equation going to say, Canyon?
X plus 4 is
Less than.
less than 15.
Okay,
Exactly the way it's written.
just how it's written up here. And Dakota, what's my second equation going to say?
X plus 4 is less,
Greater than.
greater than 15.
Greater than
Negative.
what?
15,
Negative.
negative 15.
Greater than negative 15. Switch the direction of the inequality and add the opposite. Okay? All right, so now I have my two equations. Okay, so from the absolute value, looking at this, am I going to have an and or an or?
And.
Or
Less than, what is it, Danny?
and
And. Less than and. Okay, so I'm just going to write this here to help me remember that. Okay. What am I going to do next, Tristan, on this side?
You gotta add 4, or minus 4.
Okay, so we're going to minus 4, minus 4. What's 15 minus 4?
11.
11. Okay, so I have x minus 11 on this side. What am I going to do on this side?
Minus 1.
What's negative 15 minus 4?
Negative 19.
Okay, so I have x is less than 11 and x is greater than negative 19. So what's another way that I can set this up? The other way that we can write this inequality.
The
What?
X in the middle.
X in the middle.
So, and then 11 is greater than X.
Yeah.
Okay, so x is less than 11. As we read from the variable, x is less than 11, and x is greater than negative 19. Okay? All right, how are we going to graph it? We have 11 over here, negative 19, what's negative 19 somewhere down here. X is less than 11. What am I gonna, how am I gonna, what's my circle gonna be?
Open.
Open, because it's not equal to. And we're less than 11, so what direction are we going?
Left.
To the left. And X is
Great.
greater than negative 19. What goes right here?
The open circle and then to the right.
Okay, and to the right. Okay, so does my graph come together?
Yes.
Is that what it does in an and? Right. Okay, one more I'm going to help do up here. have 3 times the absolute value of 7x minus 4 plus 5 is greater than 17. What am I going to do very, very, very first, Nick, in that equation, in that inequality? I have to isolate the absolute value first.
Minus 57.
Oh, sorry, you can't read my, that's a greater than. But we're gonna minus 5, you're right. Okay, so we have 3 times 7x minus 4, absolute value, is greater than 17 minus 5 is 12. Okay, is my absolute value alone yet? No, my absolute value is not alone yet. So what do I have to do next?
Distribute the 3.
Plus 4.
Divide. Good job, Callie.
So this is kind of tricky. You could actually distribute it, and it wouldn't kill you, but it makes things bigger. So you have to think to yourself, do I want to make things bigger or do I want to make things smaller? So it's timesing to it. So I can make it smaller by what? Dividing. So that's why we choose to divide here. You really could distribute.
Okay, so now that I am dividing, okay, so here my 3's divide out. So I have 7x minus 4 is greater than what?
4.
4, okay. This is still the absolute value. Is my absolute value alone? Yes, my absolute value is alone now. So what am I going to do next? Okay, 2 equations. So what are we going to have on the first one?
7x minus 4 is greater than 4.
Okay, and somebody else. Braylee, what am I going to have on the next one?
Subtract 4 for
What I got to set up my second inequality. What's my second inequality going to be? So the first part's going to be the same, right?
yeah.
7x minus 4, and then what am I going to do right here?
We're gonna do it greater than or less than.
Yep, it's going to be less than negative 4, right? Okay. Let's go back and look at this for a minute. Am I going to have an and or an or?
Or.
Greater or. So yes, I'm going to have an or. Okay. So we have our 2 equations. Now we're just going to add 4 to both sides. That is, we're looking at getting the variable alone, like as 7x is greater than 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay. Over here, plus 4, 7x is less than what? What's negative 4 plus 4? 0. Okay. 7x is less than 0. Okay, what am I going to do next? Tristan, what do I do next? When I have 7x is greater than 8, what do I do next?
You divide
By what?
7.
Okay. Am I going to freak out because I have a fraction right here?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to freak out. No big deal.
Oh well.
Okay. So right here we're going to have x is greater than 8/7. And over here we're going to have x is less than 0. Okay. This is an or. So how are we going to graph this? So we can think about this. This is 8/7. We have to know how to graph that. If you divide that, you're going to get like 1.1. 1.1, whatever. Okay. So on my line here, I'm going to have 0. Well, sorry, 0. And then I'm going to have 1. Okay. X is greater than 1.1. So where am I going to graph that one at?
To the right.
To the right or the left? The right. 1.1 is going to be to the right. Is it open or closed?
Open.
Opened, because it's not equal to. And which direction is my line gonna go?
Left,
X
to right.
is greater than, so we're going to the right. Okay, and then we have X is less than 0. So what am I doing over here? Tristan, open or close circle?
Open.
Open circle. And which way am I going? X is less than 0.
You're going negative.
Negative direction, which is to the left. Okay? Making sense? Okay. So you all have your books out. Is there, do you have your book, Tom? Is there any specific ones besides those two I talked about that I should do with them? 10, okay.
What page? That's too easy. 10's too easy.
But I'll do
10's
those
two.
two with, I'll do those two with them, 'cause-
Okay, 56 and 57.
yeah, 56 and 57. And maybe 9, maybe do 9 and 10.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And 8.
So let's do
And
9
7.
first.
And 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Oh. So we have 6 times the absolute value of 3 minus k plus 14 is greater than 14. Okay? Canyon, are you? What am I going to do first? Oh, that's loaded.
You're gonna do,
Minus 14.
you do 14 minus 14.
Okay, we're going to minus 14 because we got to get
Both
the
sides.
absolute value alone, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to have 6 times the absolute value of 3 minus k is greater than 0. 14 minus 14 is 0, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I know
Good.
this step.
What, Danny?
You divide by 6.
Okay.
Good job.
Good.
Okay,
Divide by 6. So these divide out. So we have the absolute value of 3 minus k is greater than, what's 0 divided by 6?
0.
0. Okay. Have we isolated? Have we gotten our absolute value alone? We've gotten it alone. So now what are we going to do next, Sally?
You would minus 3.
Okay.
Mm,
Oh,
first
wait.
set it up.
Wait. What are we going to do next? We've isolated our absolute value, and we have to do how many inequalities now?
1.
2. We got to set up 2 different inequalities, right? So the first one's going to be just like it is up here. 3 minus k is greater than 0. And our second one is going to be what, Sally?
Absolute value 3 minus k is greater than
Less than.
0.
What are we going to do right here? We're going to switch our inequality sign to less than, and it's still going to be 0. Okay? And we're not, once we set up our 2 equalities, we're not doing the absolute value anymore. We're taking that out, okay? So we're not going to put our absolute values right here. We just have our 2 inequalities now. Okay, what's next? Dakota?
You add 3 to 0.
Add 3?
No, you subtract 3.
Subtract 3 on both sides. Okay, and we have negative k is greater than 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Okay, and on this side, Griffin, what are we going to do over here?
Subtract 3.
Subtract 3. Subtract 3. We have negative k is less than negative 3. Can our variable be negative? It cannot be negative. So what do we have to do, Tristan? You multiply or divide by a negative, either one, you can choose. I'll multiply. So that means a negative times negative k is just k. Did we times or multiply by a negative?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with this sign then? We gotta switch it, right? So k is now less than negative 3 times a negative is
Positive.
Positive 3, okay? Same thing over here, we have a negative, so we've got to multiply by a negative. Negative times negative k is just positive k. We multiply by a negative, so what are we going to do with the sign?
Flip.
Flip the sign, so k is now greater than, what's this one?
3.
Negative 3 times the negative is 3. So we have k is less than 3, and k is greater than 3. Is that, is that
That's
okay?
exactly right.
Okay,
That's why I wanted you to do that, because that's exactly right.
okay. All right, so how do we we didn't talk about it. Were we gonna have an and or an or here?
Yeah, that's what you want to have.
Or
So we
It's an
have
or.
great or.
So
You're-
it's an or.
I heard we're gonna have an or, okay? So k is either, so let's just mark 3 in the middle here.
Should you
So,
circle 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be key on this one.
you have to circle 3, and so k is less than 3, how are we gonna mark that one?
To the left.
To the left, okay, to the left, and, or k is greater than 3. So what way is that one going?
right.
To the right. Has to be open, because can it be 3?
No.
It cannot
That's
be
the
3.
only number it can't be.
The only number it can't be is 3.
Now plug in a number to the right and left, just to show them that, because that'll help me when we do maximums.
Okay, up here, all the way up
In
here?
the original equation.
Okay, so, all the way up here. Okay, so if we have 6 times the absolute value of 3 minus k,
And you put in, say, 4.
any number but 3. I
Yeah,
see.
any
Okay.
number but, one to the right, one to the left of 3.
Okay, so we'll do 4.
So 3 minus
3
Minus 4 is,
3 minus 4 is what?
Right.
Negative 1.
but
Okay.
it's absolute value,
The
so
absolute
positive
value.
1.
so it'll be a positive 1.
Oh, right. Okay. Because we're basically taking it out of the absolute value, right? So we're doing, okay.
So positive 1.
Okay, so positive 1, so 6 times 1 is 6 plus 14
20.
is 20.
Is that greater than 4?
20 is greater than 14, is that true?
Yep.
So we're
Yes.
good.
Okay, so now we're gonna go back and do one on the left of 3, so should we do 2? Okay, let's do 2. So 3 minus 2 is 1. 6 times positive 1 is 6, plus 14 is
20 again.
20 is greater than negative 14, is that true? Is that true, Kelly? 20 is greater than negative 14? Yes. 20 is bigger, right? Okay, so it can be any number but 3. Okay? Okay. Oh, and 10. We were going to do 10.
And 8.
And what?
And 8.
And 8.
7.
And all of them?
6.
Yeah.
No, do 10. The other ones they can do.
Yeah, I know.
We can do.
7 and 6 I'll do with you in a minute.
Oh, you
I
will?
want to show you those.
Yeah. Okay, number 10. At a certain company, the average starting salary S for a new worker is $25,000. So we have S is equal to, because it is, how much? 25,000. Tom always says to write it as we go. So the actual salary has an absolute deviation of at most $1,800. Tom, you're gonna have to come help me. I
So
don't
what would I write? Absolute value of what?
At most.
No, absolute value of what though?
Oh. Absolute
The salary
deviation.
has an absolute deviation, so write absolute value of S
absolute value of S.
is what? At most. Now explain, now think about what at most means.
Okay, at most, so can it be more than 1,800?
Yeah. No.
At most 1,800. It can't be more, so it's gonna be
Less than or
less than,
equal to.
oh, because it can be less than or equal to 1,800. Okay?
Yep, now solve that absolute value. You're fine.
Okay, so if S is, what are we gonna do? Set up two equations, right? S is less than or equal to 1800, what's my other one?
Greater than or equal to.
That's yours.
Greater than, switch the sign, or equal to what?
Negative 1800.
There you go, negative 1800. Okay? Am I
Now,
done?
Now, you're almost done, but you gotta
Okay.
think about back at the salary. So from the salary, I could either add 1800, what would that put you at?
Okay, so if we did 25,
2500 plus 1800,
was that 100 or 1,000?
or, sorry,
You're
1800,
good.
isn't it? 25,000
Right.
plus 1800 is what?
26,000.
26, and it's gotta be what? Less than, because notice up above that, the one that says S has to be less than 1800 is positive. So by adding the 1800, it has to be less than that value. So S has to be less, this is
Okay.
kind of hard to understand.
Thanks.
Okay, no, this is really a hard one to understand what they're saying. So what this is saying is if I add 1800 to your salary, that's what it is, right? So S would have to be what?
Less than or equal to.
So I'm gonna put the S on this side. Because S has to be what? Less than or equal to that salary, because it was positive, it's less than. If I add it to your salary, you with me? What if I what?
Subtract.
Subtract it from your salary. So what's subtracting 1800?
23,200.
Okay, so if I have 23,200, it would have to be what? What does this say? S is what?
Greater than.
Greater than. So reading from the S, greater than or equal to. That's my range. Is that an and statement?
Yes.
Should it be an and statement?
Yes.
Less than what?
Less
And.
than.
Okay, so that's how you do that. Okay, let me go on and do these next two. So, I got a question in general. What if it's, now this is just general, and well, all right, let's just do the specific one first. Let's do, what, number 6 or 7? Which ones have the negative?
6 and
6.
7.
6 and 7, so let's do 6. But we'll do it just the normal way, and then I'll come back and we'll do a general application. So let's just do it the normal way. So what does the equation say? Gianna, read it to me.
The absolute value of f plus 12.
F, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Plus 12.
Plus 12.
Is greater than negative 4.
Okay. Why is this one a problem? What if it was equal to negative 4? Could it equal a negative? Could the absolute value equal a negative? Remember, absolute value means distance. Can distance be negative? Do you go negative miles to Farron? Do you go negative miles to Huntington? Yes, you do. But no, we don't say that. You don't actually say we ever go negative miles, right? So there's something wrong with this before we even start. Because it's greater than or less than a negative value. Now, you're going to see a general application here in a minute. But let's say we didn't even notice, that we were just in a hurry, we were taking a test, and we were like, okay, I just know that's greater or, right? And you're just like, I'm going to set up my equation. It'll still work out. Think about this. I'd write F plus 12 is what, Braylee?
Greater than.
Exactly the same. So I'm going to write F plus 12 is what?
Is that plus 12? Or
Greater than.
less greater than negative 4?
Greater than negative 4. Exactly the way it's written, right? And then my other equation, right, now we're doing the other one, Griffin, what's that going to be? Will I write an and or an or between?
Or.
Greater or what?
Or.
Or. And then what's my other equation, Griffin?
F plus 12 is less than
Good.
4.
Good. Excellent job. Okay? Okay, now we're going to have Sally solve it for us. What's this one going to do? What should I do on both sides, Sally?
Plus 12.
Hmm.
It already is plus.
So minus 12.
Minus. Always do the opposite. So F is greater than negative 16. Right? Or, leave that or in there. And then, Jacoda, what am I going to do here?
Minus 12.
Yep, minus 12 both sides. What's 4 minus 12?
-8.
-8. Okay? Now think about the number line. What key points am I gonna mark on my number line then?
16.
-16 and negative what?
8.
This one says that f has to be what?
Less than.
Less than -8. Or, not and, but or what?
Greater than. Greater.
Whoa.
Greater than.
Is 0 greater than -16? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is 0 greater than -16?
Yes.
So does that fit the entire statement? Because it can be one or what? The other. Is it okay to have 0? Yes. Is it okay to have -30?
Yes.
Yes, because -30 is less than what? -8. So what is this telling us? And we had these on Alex the other day.
No.
What is this
so
telling
less
us?
than.
No. Is everything true? Everything is true, isn't it? 0 worked for one of them, right? Did -30 work for one of them? For one of them, yeah. And as long as it's an or, was that an or? Then it's true for what? Everything if they overlap. So this is all what? All reals. Now, before we even go there, let's think of the general application. Think of this right here. Any absolute value, call it, I don't know, star, okay? Greater than any negative value, call it sunshine. Okay? So we don't care. Think about this in general. The absolute value is going to be a distance, right? And distance is always what?
Positive.
Positive. Is a positive value always going to be greater than a negative value? Yes. Always. No matter what you put in. The absolute value is going to say we're now going a distance being positive. When you plug in any value there, put in a negative value for star. Put in -100. When you take the absolute value of -100, what's it going to be? Positive. Put in 100 for star. Is it going to be positive? Is a positive number always greater than a negative number? Yes. So whenever you see any absolute value greater than a negative value, it has to be what? All reals. Has to be all reals. Try this one. What if I had absolute value of JAK minus HI divided by PW, I don't care, it doesn't really matter, is greater than -3, what's the answer?
All reals.
All reals.